Hi there, it's Tom and Tom. Back, we both have our fake backgrounds today. We're back in our usual places of residence with our fancy green screens. And I say this because we are very transparent here, Tom. We hold nothing back. I have been talking, Tom, in the last couple days about education in the AI age. And as we were talking earlier, we built our education system in this country in response to the industrial age. Desks in rows, teachers giving instructions, students following them. The whole system was designed to prepare people to work in factories, basically. I mean, obviously there were post-secondary educational opportunities beyond that, but that's what the compulsory education system was about. Then came the information age, and we did basically nothing. We tweaked around the edges, but we pretty much left the system more or less intact. So we really did a disservice to all of those people that got an education in the information age, but it was an industrial age education. Now, we're about to enter the AI age. There can be no mistaking it. The AIs are getting better week by week now, and you don't have to be a mathematician to know that with that kind of accelerated improvement, this thing's not going away. And the way the kids that are coming through school today will never know a world where they can't get a question answered right now, right from their phone, or their tablet, or their laptop, or whatever device they have, wherever they are, whenever they are, they can get an answer. Now, we can debate whether that answer is right or not, and whether they should trust it and all that. But the fact is that for them, that's what research looks like. Now, if you educate them the way they did during the industrial age, knowing that that's the world they're going into, you are setting them up for, I don't even know. Tom, what would you be setting them up for? I'm at a loss.
I don't know, life as an Amish farmer, maybe. I don't know.
They have to learn farming.
Yes, but you can learn that skill. You were touching
On
on this
your
idea
own, because you won't learn it in school.
It's like I think we've fallen down on this topic of education for my whole life. And I feel like we've fallen down on the topic of, because people who know a little bit of our background in agile software development, on the topic of building efficient software my whole life. Everything I look at strikes me as 90% inefficient. And the reason I'm excited by AI is I'm like, maybe it will finally force that into the light. The fact that our educational system has been horrendous for a long time will now become more evident. The same way that of the way we built and run a lot of companies will become more evident, because we'll have reduced the cost for people to run experiments to do something dramatically different. And I think AI is going to do that in education. I think AI is already doing that in business, and most people haven't noticed yet, but they'll notice. Give it a year or two more. And I'm excited by both of these. I'm excited for the startups that we work with. I'm excited for young people who are going to potentially get to participate in a reimagined educational system And you and I haven't
Yeah.
talked about what we think that is, but I'll lay out a few thoughts. If I can work one on one with an AI to master and learn any given set of facts way better than I ever could, we might still have some set of, hey, you kind of need to know some of these facts to have a basic understanding of life, but the time to learn and master those is going to be reduced to a tiny percentage of what we used to spend. And I mean this quite seriously. Cognitively, the young people who are ready, and I think sometimes we start people way too early in school. I think we're going to see a lot of sixth graders, just by a lot, I mean the top 10%, doing calculus within a few years
It's like Star Trek.
because they'll be able to, and there'll be nothing in the system, there'll be no friction in the system preventing them from learning that. And right now, the system doesn't even unless you're truly a super genius, the system has no accommodation for you to really excel in anything.
You know, Tom, when I was in grade school, they did an experiment with math. It was called IPI, Individually Prescribed Instruction. And the experiment was, if you let kids learn at their own rate, if you put together materials and the student could grab the next piece of material, learning material, go through it at whatever rate they were capable of, get help from a teacher if they needed it, and work through it. And when they were done, they would get the next thing, and they could go at their own pace. They ultimately ended up abandoning it because some kids, struggled at the grade level they were at, and others went all the way, were in college, like they ran through all the material that was available in like 2 years. We were in what they call middle school now, it was junior high then, and these kids had finished high school math, and they wanted
they had
more.
No plan for them. They're like, we've just created a nightmare for ourselves.
But this is in the 60s, Tom.
Yeah.
Like they've known this for a long time. But my point is, if I could interject here.
Yeah, please.
I think my belief is that facts are going to get devalued in the future.
Yep.
The thought processes are what we need to teach. We don't teach it at all now, really. We don't teach critical thinking. We don't teach ideation. We don't teach collaboration. We don't teach, we do teach philosophy a little bit, but I don't think we teach it right in grade school.
Just to be clear, when Tom says we don't teach, he's talking about our general education system.
Yes.
Tom and I, we actually teach these things to adults who are running businesses because they need to learn these skills. We teach these things.
It's hard. And a lot of the people get these skills from their parents or through extracurricular type of education. They don't get it in school. And the things that we do teach, like the cartoon that I put on my post today, had a room with rows of desks and kids sitting nice and neatly listening to the teacher, and the teacher's saying, who knows the capital of Colombia? And of course, nobody raises their hands because the kids aren't allowed to have their phones in school. And they're not going to commit that kind of crap to memory when it's there for the taking whenever they need it. Like they may look it up someday and go, oh, it's Bogota, I remember. They remember it later because they remembered it. But there's no necessity to remember it. They remember it because they choose to, not because they need to. I needed to remember because it was on a frigging test. Like that's the kind of crap I was expected to know. Now, how often do I need to know the the capital of Colombia? Not that often, really, as it
I've
turns out.
memorized multiple times in my life just for fun and for a variety of reasons. All the countries and all the capitals. I don't remember them because one of the things you need to do to maintain a memory is you need to do what's called active recall. You
Right.
need to, on some regular, unless you're truly exceptional biochemistry, and I'm not one of those people. If I don't actively recall the fact over time, it fades, and I don't remember the capital of
Right.
Colombia.
And to that point, there are whole books, there are systems, memory systems. You could teach people, teach kids how to remember things with extraordinary accuracy. It's not a matter of teaching them what to remember. Teach them how to remember. Let them decide what to remember.
Yeah.
You know, and these are the different kinds of skill. We don't teach any of it in compulsory education.
Well, and if you teach, because I teach this and I do this when I'm, especially when I'm working with adults. It's working with adults as a team member, and we were writing a very significant piece of software in a language called C++. And C++ was a horrendous language. And so while we were doing it day in and day out, like I and a bunch of others, we built little flashcard decks. And the flashcard decks that we'd flip through and try to recall things at the beginning of the day were like 50 ways that this language is going to bite you in the
Yes.
behind.
But Tom, it wasn't so much that C++ was hard, because Visual Basic suffered from the same thing, which was most of it was .NET.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you learn? How do you memorize? I want to go back to one thought and sort of wrap this subject up at some point. What are we going to do in schools? I'm like, we do the things that are inherently social and collaborative. We'll sing more. We'll put on more plays. We'll dance. We'll play music. We'll play sports. We'll do more of that. And when we're spending time together, if memorizing facts and seeing if you're on top of your facts becomes only 1 or 2% of the time, we're going to spend time doing more interesting things. We're especially if it's classroom led. But one of my favorite guys who taught chemistry, who did it using Scrum, he's like, I had to teach so that students would pass the national exam. So we did that first. And we did that using Scrum, which means he taught them how to use a collaborative tool that they could use for the rest of their life everywhere in order to master chemistry. So he taught them that at the same time, and then they taught themselves chemistry because he taught them how to learn and support each other as a group. And then when they were all done and they all could score what they had wanted to score on the national exam, he's like, then we spent 2 months at the end of the year doing chemistry together and having fun doing chemistry. So he met the letter of the law and the needs of society, but he taught them how to collaborate and work as teams and to be highly functional. This is in a traditional school.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what real chemistry is, but for me, it's like how to make things sparkle and burn and grow and blow up and make smoke and to transform something. It's like, yeah, then you start playing with chemicals and having fun and hopefully learning how to do it safely in a collaborative environment. Like, I'm utterly convinced, and I've already seen this working with my buddy Kyle, that we can reduce the time it takes to learn most mathematics by 90% or more with what we already know. We just haven't built the systems to do that. And there will always be kids who are a few years behind. And by that, I mean just however their body is developing. We know this already. Your math brain develops all the way through your 20s. I sometimes tell this to young people who are like 25 and they're like, I was never good at math. And I'm like, have you tried it lately? The stuff that was hard for you at 15 might actually really work because your brain is continuing to develop. Uh, I guess maybe the other thing along that lines is what I imagine as the new world is that we won't discourage people from learning. And I think 90% of education right now discourages 90% of the students.
Well, I know some teachers that would disagree with you about that. And speaking of which, I, I would love it if you happen to be a teacher or an educator of some sort, maybe even corporate type education, which is something that we both have a lot of experience in. What are you seeing out there? Are you working with young people? Do they learn the same? Do they know what older people knew when they were their age? Drop us a comment. I'd love to hear some feedback on that one. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, click like. And also, don't forget to click that subscribe button. It's down there. I think it's red. It was red last time I looked. If it says subscribe, you haven't clicked it. If it says subscribe, with a D on the end, you clicked it. And I thank you for that. We both thank you. And in the meantime, we would love to be able to work with you on whatever aspect of your intentional culture you might like help with. You can reach out to us at beintentional.biz, and we will be happy to respond to you and see how we can help. And until next time, this is Tom.
Tom,
Thanks for listening.
bye.